Hello, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast. Tonight we're going to be continuing. Our little coding adventures here. Last time we got edge of screen logic put in place, but we still have some problems with the targeting and movement logic with some of the projectiles. We want to get that resolved first. Let's see how derailed we get. But before we do, say hi to folks already in chat. We do have Tatum and Cheese here with us already. Hello, both of you. Welcome, welcome. And we need to check in with the kitties. We do have Sky up in his cat tree and Mason and Sammy up on the bed. Ember returning to her favorite spot. He apparently has an itchy ear. Yeah. Congested there. But yeah, should be good. I did get my third monitor working again, which means I have a alternate means of looking at chat, which I may need to adjust further, but for now it works well. It lets me tell if people are in different chat channels, you know. Oh, well, now I'm not sure which stream each one of them refers to. Let's check here. Okay. Yeah, we're online. And I think the sound is working, right? The sound is working? Anybody having problems with the sound? Hey there, Therians. Welcome. Oh, good, Tatum. Good. I'm trying new things to mitigate that. One of the new things didn't work, but we'll see. We're just getting started, Cheese. The day is going well. Should be good times. Again, on the last broadcast, we had gotten our border handling done. So if we look at the screen, it is currently the kill zone, but it is the edge zone. If a mobile object touches this, right now it gets removed. So if we look at the screen here, our little animated dude, we have our projectiles that are not working quite right. Did I, Tatum? Hey there, Therians, over on the other street. What did I change? I might have to change the projectiles to double check that they are still colliding when it handles it. Oh, here. This is what I've been using for a little while now. If you are joining us after a long break, this has changed. We actually have the view from the inner sanctums of the factory. Not that one. This button. Have I ever played War Thunder, Cheese? No, I have not. I have seen an inordinate number of advertisements for War Thunder. I have played World of Tanks, and I have played a little bit of World of Warships. I like tanks better than warships, that's for sure. I can't really speak to War Thunder, it's neat that it's combined arms, but I don't know that that whole experience would be something that I look forward to, given that I have a real limit on how long I can play tanks for. Have I played Fortnite? I have. I played it way back when it was a tower defense game. Like when they were initially going to release it and they initially said, this is what Fortnite is going to be. I played that. I was really looking forward to that. And then that wasn't successful, and they completely changed it. I think they kept it as like against the storm mode eventually. They like brought it back. But by that point, you know, it was a side thing at best. But it was interesting. It was interesting. As far as it exists now, I have no interest in playing it. It's neat to hear about it now and then because it is a big, cool thing. No worries, Tatum. No worries. You have a good time with that. Okay. But, so we had a problem. Why did this open up? Neat. Hey there, Conduct. Welcome. Wait. I'm confused about which screens are which here. Okay. It's tall, eye is wide. Okay. Wide is left, tall is middle, which is right. I must remember that. But welcome, Conduct. All right, geez, see you later. Okay. Well, that's tangential. We don't need that. Where is it? 2 random. Okay. Last time, this is what we discovered. So, if it just moves and get target has not been called on it, then it will not reposition. And since it doesn't have a change direction, it won't work properly. So if we, it needs a change direction. I think this is going to be all we need. And a movement template as a get and change direction. Oh, it'll let you see how we start and what we say we're going to work on at the beginning, and then we don't work on it. Apparently, my aggregator chat is not working how I want it to, but we'll fix that later. It's supposed to put the chat bubbles underneath the name so I can read the whole message. But I can't fix it while the stream is going. So I will have to look to the left and squint a little. Okay, so by default, get direction returns movement direction, which is a default part of the movement template. We need movement direction because that's the thing that position modifiers touch. So there's by default a movement direction, and change direction is what we want to fiddle with. Well, no, we don't need change direction because change direction by default is this. This one right here. Set the vector to that. So if we go into a position modifier, it has modified position. If we look at spread, we have modify position. And it rotates each one. So we're going to mark here. We're going to look at our basic blob spawner and make sure that it has a very long spawn interval of 30. Hey there, Lee. We're doing some game dev. We're working on our little Let's Learn Godot and Let's Make a Survivor-style game project here. And thank you. I do like the way it looks as well. I appreciate the compliment. And those are 2 of my 5 cats. The upper one is Mason. He's the tan and white one on the tan blanket. And the lower one on the Squishmallow is Sammy. I should be live tomorrow, Tatum. Since it seems like you might be new to the channel, let's see if we can spot more of them. Okay, Sherbet is not visible. The 5th cat is not visible. But we have Ember is encompassing most of a camera that's way zoomed in. Ember is tiny. And up in the cat tree sitting there is Sky, that camera is way zoomed out. He is much bigger than the others. Yeah, Sherbet is more asymmetrically colored than Mason, but same colors. Yeah, we keep the cameras pointed at the kitties. And welcome, Amy, as well. Okay, so this should be changing direction. But this is an ugly function. Hey there, she. Welcome. I did not make this avatar myself. I only wish that I was an artist capable of this. The group that made this avatar is Animation Studios. Dendy and Inkjack are the artist and rigger for it. Did I have a fat cat? I've never had a cat that I would call fat. One of my Maine Coons was drifting chubby, but never fat. I always try to keep cognizant of how much they're eating so that they never get they never get to that unhealthy overweight territory. The internet memes of a chonk cat is generally showing a cat that is morbidly obese and at risk of its health. Which, while amusing initially, is not necessarily something to glorify. Okay. Okay, we need to make this function coherent. Okay, so for each mob body in the list, I am live on Twitch as well, Lee. There are 3 streams going on right now. YouTube has 2 of them, one in widescreen and one in tall format. It seems that you are in tall format. There is a widescreen YouTube one and a widescreen Twitch one. So whichever you're most comfortable watching on, go ahead over there. In that vein, if I do seem to be talking to somebody you can't see in chat, that's why. Okay. Hey there, football. Welcome. Welcome to our coding stream. Am I going to play a game tomorrow? And hello, Nugget. Not sure. I had been thinking of doing it. Chilla's Art has a Spot the Difference style game. And I love that style of game. The sort of camera array, spot what has changed. Those can be fun. Those can be a lot of fun. I want to see how Chilla's Art handles it. The quality of the games that either that developer or that studio puts out are kind of varied, but I like the themes of some of them. I don't necessarily like the mechanics of some of them. Okay, cool. It's good to hear that there's some quality to it. I like games like I'm on the Observation Duty, Para Eyes. What was another one? There's another one that has a really cool like a sequel coming out. There's one that was originally built for VR, where in addition to having to look at the camera array, in kind of Five Nights at Freddy's fashion, you also have to pay attention to the room that you're in for other stuff. With the same mechanic is you need to periodically check the room and see if there's something different because something can creep up on you. Hey there, Pink. Welcome. We're just getting started. This is a coding stream. It's also what constitutes a chatting stream for us, so don't worry about interrupting. And I haven't asked Nugget, is that there was like a game that was like a cartoonish elementary school with multiple endings and paths in it and whatnot, and there was a character named Nugget. Is that what your name is a reference to, or just chicken nuggets in general? I ask because of the I am Nugget line. Well, I appreciate it, Pink. I appreciate it. I like the ears too. I can make them move a little bit more. I want to make more use of those buttons. I may need to move the button array for them. Make it more visible to me. Do that now. One moment. Here, this one is here, this one is here. Okay, that might have worked. I did not get them something for Easter. In general, as far as things that they like, that's pretty much what you see. I've tried getting them extra toys and whatnot, and like many cats, the things that they like are kind of random. There is a cardboard tray from some, I believe it was from some Gatorade that Mason loves. He sits in classic cat fashion. For a while, I had some masking tape on some of the surfaces that you can see in the cameras, and sometimes the cats would go sit in the masking tape box, like a square out of masking tape. But yeah, a lot of the like toys that are supposed to be like, oh, it's a kicker toy or it's something that they can play with, they get bored really fast with it. Supposedly, Pink, and I don't know that this would necessarily work for you, or if it's something you would not want to risk. No, I should give them some catnip. You're right, Tatum. I don't know if it's something you want to risk, Pink. But some folks have luck with if you put egg in their food. It can be like powdered egg or something like that, or you could, um, you'd have to make sure it was safe, that you wouldn't poison them. Uh, as far as like the rawness of the egg, but some chickens that have been exposed to cats previously, the protein that cats give off that causes allergies in humans, when a chicken is exposed to it, there is a corresponding protein that they start producing and have available in their body, and thus their meats and eggs, that counteracts that in humans. So if you feed that to cats, then it negates that the allergy emitting protein. I don't know if that's actually safe. It is something that I heard. So that is something that perhaps you could research and check with people that also have cats. Exposure testing, if you like. What's your question, Conduct? And hello, Naruto. Hey, thanks for swinging by, Lean, and I hope you have a good night. I haven't really decided on anything as far as distribution. Conduct, we're still in like pre-alpha stage of this development process. If it is, there are going to be two vectors that this is probably going to see if I go through assuming it's not like a free download, is it would probably be like $1 or something like that. Go the Vampire Survivors route. Hey there, Neko. Yep. Programming and cats. Also, a lot of chat. And hello, Okaneki. Which one? The black and white one, Okaneki? She does have some of that color that huskies do. But yeah, that's a tuxie. That's a tuxedo cat, pattern fur. Prior to Sammy, I had another tuxedo named Rorschach. Sammy is much more symmetrical, especially around her face. Rorschach was not. His facial pattern was really like splotchy, and thus his name. Thanks, Pink. I think so too. Oh, hey. And I gotta fix that chat box. But hey, I appreciate it. Thank you, Neko. I think I can fix this. I think I can. Go to. I'm gonna push some buttons real quick, folks. I have a screen that aggregates the chat from the various streams for me, and unfortunately, it's seemingly broken. So I needs to fix. Oh, overlay, message styling. Yeah, it's supposed to do that. Why you not do that? This. Paste that. We're fixing. We're doing some live debugging. Our camera docks. I mean, as far as stream scuff, this could be worse, Yeah, I think doing what it's supposed to do. Yeah, interesting. Why? All right, well, hopefully that's fixed. Yeah, we're doing GD script. It's not necessary. Work. So I have been told, Pink. So I have been told. So I have been told. It's never something I considered. I'm using GD script because I wanted to learn a new programming language. Previously, I have done Java, C#, JavaScript, Visual Basic 6 for my sins, apparently. So I wanted to try something different. Oh, also Lua. I made a Noida mod, so I had to use Lua. I don't like Lua. Did I turn what invisible, Neko? Yeah, it's from what I read, Neko. Godot engine, if you're doing raw calculations and you're doing like lots of math, making C# libraries for it is noticeably better. Like you have to do a lot of footwork in Godot to optimize it for that. But if you're interacting with the Godot physics engine, the world space, then the GD script, it has a lot better performance. I found it interesting. Oh, the chat aggregator thing. Yeah, it's not visible on screen. I have had some people who have misbehaved, and the chat aggregator that I've got doesn't erase messages that I erase. So that is that can be a problem as far as VODs. Okay, Tatum. Interesting. So oh man, yeah, that could be very interesting. I knew somebody who did Let's Build Together on Minecraft, and a big part of redstone structure is essentially using logic gates, rules for chat are pretty much the ones that should have popped up when you join the stream, but it's more or less, don't be rude, don't self-promote, don't spoil the game, or, tell me how to do things unless I ask for it. And one that I don't have in there is don't ask a lot of personal questions. If I answer what seems to be an IRL question with a character lore answer, that means I'm not going to tell you don't ask anymore. Requiring you to use redstone is one of the reasons that I don't like vanilla Minecraft, but at the same time, I respect the folks that make that work. That takes effort, All right, Tatum. Hello, Megan. Welcome to the broadcast. All right. Okay, so we have... all right, yeah, I do intend to have a good day. Hopefully I will. One thing I do like about GD script over some other scripting languages is you can explicitly type variables and parameters. It is something that some of the scripting languages lack. You can tell a particular code line to treat it as this, like forcibly type it in the code, but you have to set out to do that. I think there's some real overlap in that, Neko. It's how I refer to it is, to do programming, you have to get a grasp of functional thinking and not effectively, I want something to do something. How do I make it do something? What series of tasks or instructions do I have to go through to make that happen? And then wrap that in a bubble and use it. I don't know how many people are watching, Megan. You are currently looking at the tall form stream. I try not to look. Yep. It's the reason I don't look is I want the experience to be the same for anybody that's watching, even if they're lurking, even if there's nobody present and somebody just joins. So there's going to be some stream of consciousness going on. That's right. I do like that. It's sort of like you're presented with a puzzle and you solve it. Okay, so for those that haven't seen this previously, a mob body, I'm using mob in the term of mobile object. So the player is technically a mob. I haven't reset the player to be a mob yet. All enemies are mobs, all bullets are mobs. They are things that can move around. Hey there, Jack fan. Is that Jack fan in the sense of the Incredibles movie, or Jack in the sense of the diorama artist on YouTube, or something else? Yep, Sammy's all bageled up. Ah, okay, well, there we go. Yep. I just gave it a name, essentially. So I have a group of them that has been spawned, and then I have the concept of a movement template, which is a way that something moves around. So, for example, move towards a random target, a given target. It will set its direction towards them, and then it will keep going. Have I watched anime? I have watched anime. I haven't been watching much recently. There have been a couple that seem interesting, but you gotta kind of ration your spare time, you know. Right now, Helldivers, Dragon's Dogma 2, and a couple of other things eat up most of my spare time, so I don't sit down and watch a lot of anime. And hey there, cats. Welcome. Neko, it's really anything that isn't a world geometry element and isn't the player. So, like, in Vampire Survivors terms, the little torches that you can break to get power-ups sometimes are still mobs. They just don't move. I have heard that Demon Slayers is good. I liked the art style. It's kind of the art style that we see a bit in Hero Academia as well. Is that sort of like thick line art, you know? You also see a bit of it in JoJo. Yes, I watched One Punch Man Series 1. I really like One Punch Man. It works on a lot of levels. I like the comedy of the goofy character whose art is often disparate from the rest of the art. I generally read the manga. I don't think the manga is very different too, which is nice. Um, I also like it's a reverse of some of the scenarios. You have a character that starts very OP. Like, they exist in the immediately more powerful than everybody else state. But that is used as a storytelling gimmick. That is, he wants to be a basic hero. He trained to be a basic hero. He wanted to help people. He wanted to be acclaimed and whatnot. He wanted to have challenging fights with villains. But he's so powerful he can't. Even his weakest abilities are generally more than a match of for the most powerful enemies. And that has led to his sort of schlubby behavior, you know? Like, why bother? I read a bit of the Jujutsu Kaisen manga. It just didn't sync with me. I know some folks have been really into it lately. It's not bad. It's just nothing about it really stuck. You know, it was effectively a story I had seen before. And hello, Gas Mask Guy. That's right, Neko. There's a lot of them that are like, this isn't bad. I'm not interested. One that I always like to bring up is I mean, those are the basic rules that are listed in the Discord, cats. The big one is don't be rude, and if you end up being underage and you might be exposed to something that is inappropriate, it is generally a safe for work Discord, but we can't guarantee that somebody won't say something or similar. If that happens, we'll probably have to remove you from the Discord. That kind of thing. We don't want the situations like that to be perpetuated. Yep, there's a Discord. The link is in the link tree that is linked in the descriptions of the video. There are some folks that are really rabid fans of particular shows or media, and they are prone to being very defensive when somebody doesn't agree with the reasons that they like it. Yeah, Tass is right on that front. Neko, not clicking links that you aren't sure of is a good policy. Hey there, Tass. That is one of the big things about One Piece, is it's very daunting to start. So that's the first thing. A common thing in the fan community, apparently, is there's a point in the plot called Arlong Park. And what people say is, if you're not really into it by the time you hit Arlong Park... One moment, we're having technical difficulties. Okay, we had a brief disconnect there. It's... if you don't like One Piece by Arlong Park, you're probably not going to like it at all. Mandatory scuff. That's right, Taz. Hey, we dodged the audio issue scuff this time. But One Piece also has the problem that there's a lot of stuff in it. There's a lot of filler arcs in it that it's not like traditional anime filler arcs where that only exists in the anime. There's just not as much cool stuff happening arcs. I have not seen the One Piece live action. Haven't had subbed to Netflix in a while. It is I've heard good things. I like One Piece in general, but at this point, I'm kind of reaching sunk cost fallacy with it, where I keep reading it because I've been reading it. Like, it's okay. I like the way that the villains and the dynamic of the villains and the heroes, you like all of them. You know the heroes are eventually going to win, but the conflicts feel more dynamic than the standard, hero versus villain, hero wins, next encounter. Neko, there's no other channels until I confirm a person. I have to go in and set a role. So once somebody has joined after stream, I'll go in, check on them, and essentially hit a button and all of the other channels will appear. But you have to join the channel and it will show you in the lobby first. It is what I call a art bot trap. It is a hazard of streaming and VTubing as well, because a streamer and a VTuber will attract people that want to make backgrounds and alerts and emotes for them, and they will come and they will make unsolicited sales pitches to you. And if they get into your Discord fully, then they'll also spread to every Discord you're a part of. So I try to trap them there so that I can catch them faster. It also prevents the inevitable somebody will find it and decide to dogpile. You mean like the tab on a soda can there, Okaneki? I think I saw the first episode or so of Demon Slayer, and I like some of the concepts. It do be like that, Neko. It do be like that. I used to try to be polite, and now it's just if I see that they're like a graphics artist as their first thing and they have DM'd me, they're getting shut down right away. Like, you gotta try harder on your art botting. I mean, depending on the plastic, it might pass right through harmlessly. If you are concerned that you have consumed something that won't pass through harmlessly, probably seek medical help. What was I doing? Thinking. Okay, spread pattern. I wanted to make sure that I've got this function working. So, body to adjust equal to You know, this doesn't seem right. Yeah, this line is too long, Neko. That's what I'm trying to fix. We're moving slow on it because I want to keep up with chat, and that's okay. I greatly dislike this structure. Like, I usually don't use this kind of pattern. This extended ... kind of pattern. Because every time you do this, you're obfuscating what this returned, what this returns, what this returns. You don't know anymore. Or at least you have to read it and know what the functions do. So I think intermediaries are a good idea for that. Okay, move template to apply to this one. Yeah, that is the Neko. That's one of the reasons I disagree with the pattern with the idea that you shouldn't need to comment your code. Your code should be self-readable. It should explain itself, because it won't. Inevitably, it won't. It's a combination of tell me what it's supposed to do and how you intend to do it along with that. Why didn't I live stream yesterday? Back pain. A lot of back pain. Weather be changing, so... Well, Coco, be aware that since this is a channel that isn't targeted towards children, despite it being a generally safe for work channel, if a conflict arises that might be inappropriate for your age, you may need to be removed from the channel, but in the interim, welcome. I say that to people that assert their age and are thus minors. Your presence is not a problem until it is. An April Fool's joke? I don't have anything that I think I could play an April Fool's joke with on short notice. Like, if I set out to do it, I think I could have prepared one, but it's not really a high priority. I actually saw a little thing about the origin of April Fools. Apparently, with the shift to the calendar that we use now, New Year's went from April 1st to January 1st. And when that happened, there were still people that would celebrate New Year's on the original. And what they wanted to do is people that were in the know about the new calendar had set up essentially a way to prank, like a holiday for pranking the people that were celebrating on what is now, the wrong day. And thus began the April Fools. Well, I don't know if you meant that term, but accomplishing that with a soda can, like a whole soda can, is actually kind of impressive. We're an educational channel, but you probably shouldn't trust anything I say as fact. Okay, so okay, so we have the mob that we're going to change the direction of. We have the movement template that it is using. So this is a series of things. Like you could have move in a straight line, but home in on a target, and then move randomly. Like all of those could be applied to the same entity in sequence. So we're going through each one of them and saying, we're going to rotate you a little. This is to create a spread pattern. Like, you know, it fires 3 projectiles in a spread in front of it, kind of thing. Welcome back, Tatum. Well, if it's freshly sharpened, pencils are sharp. Sometimes very, very sharp, depending on how they're sharpened. The limits on Discord? There's not really much of a limit on Discord. I would prefer, if you have something to post, that you keep it to the appropriate board. But, you know, otherwise, again, don't be rude. That's pretty much it. Still kind of long, but I think we're getting there. The Discord server, Cats, is relatively quiet. I swing through there at least daily. Or if I notice somebody's chatting on there. That is a good call. You know, we empathize if you keep injuring yourself, but I don't think you need to, I don't think we need moment-by-moment updates. Gaming streams. Periodically, I think weekly. But the coding streams, people seem to enjoy it. So I'm probably going to keep at least 50% of the time-ish to coding streams. I'm tentatively going to do a game tomorrow. And we should be doing another Ace Attorney stream later in the week. We got a new game to try tomorrow. I try to go for games that are cozy as well. I like to be able to stop and chat, and while I do love Monster Hunter, the Monster Hunter streams were not good stop and chat streams. Okay, so this is what the spread shot function does. We go through and we create an equal spread of angles. Someday I might do streams like that, but I generally really don't like the experience of playing rage games. I don't like to play games to be frustrated. Oh, have I played Final Fantasy XIV? Yes. Played all the way through Endwalker so far. We're waiting for what is it? Like Dawn Treader, is it? Or something else? Isn't that the name of one of the boats in the Narnia series? Anyhow, waiting for the next one. Dawn Trail, there we go. Someday, if things go well and I have the resources for it, I might get an additional form of this model done that would show that, cats. How far into Shadowbring? Oh man, if you haven't finished Shadowbringers, Neko, have your box of tissues ready. I came close on Graha's moment. I cried in the moments in Shadowbringers for sure. Though, frankly, anything from that character gets me tearing up. It's so earnest. Yes, Travis, Kitty. I think Tatum's suggested cat cam a bit. So we have Sammy taking a bath on the pillow. We have Sky napping in his tree. Ember is napping in her spot. All the cats are napping. It is a state of being. You can't really see it clearly, but the cat tree by a window curtain. Sherbet is in the little hutch. That's his spot. And if I had to guess, Mason is up and right from where Sammy is. Stream time is nap time. That's right, cats. If it weren't for the gacha elements and the FOMO elements of Genshin, I would consider it a great game. But the kind of omnipresence of those elements eventually turned me off of it. If you're immune to that, or if you're fine with that, then it'll be a fun game, I think. Initially I had the song that's based off of, Neko, I had not realized what the words were, like how the words lined up, and I had to listen really closely during the weapon fights to hear it as well. Generally, for the most part, cats, I post stream announcements on Twitter. Um, I'm not terribly good at the Twitter engagement bait in meme posting. I'm not terribly good at memes as I often need tasks to translate for me when somebody uses a meme in my presence. Tatum, it's as far as noticing my cats laying next to me, my cats will like start to gather when they think I should go to bed, and they will swarm when I head to bed. My cats swarm around me for the most part. If I enter a different room, they will start to gather in that room. I don't think anybody, cats, is offended when you say Twitter instead of X, unless they are a hardcore Musk fanboy, because it will always be Twitter, because X is a silly name. In a more technical sense, cats, Twitter and the act of tweeting had achieved a corporate gold standard. It is what you want from a product perspective, from a brand name perspective, when your product becomes the generic name for something like Kleenex or Band-Aid, that kind of stuff, where when somebody mentions an object that has various different competitors in the space, they say your brand name. That's what you want. If you can achieve that, it's the best thing ever. Hey there, Philip. Well, welcome back. I didn't know Elevator was one. I mean, that has a functional name, but interesting. I mean, at least it wasn't the Shadow Realm. You didn't have to play Yu-Gi-Oh! I've seen some resurgent popularity in that recently. Okay, so with the spread function, we create a series of angles. We go in and we apply those angles to each object. Okay. That's true. Is the whole like other world of Mortal Kombat the Netherrealm? Thing. Okay, so then to random mob, it determines where it's going based on this, but it's possible that get target doesn't get called on. I think that's our problem. So if we go into spawner. Oh, okay. Interesting. You know, setting aside the let's do all of the crossovers that Mortal Kombat has turned into, the fact that they put lore effort into a fighting game is always appreciated. Okaneki, it's not about talking too much. I mean, this is chat. It's about chatting. It's... for example, if a person were eating dinner in chat, we don't need a play-by-play of the eating experience. That was the situation in which we called out to. Am I? I mean, I'm gonna say not really Ghost. This is much closer to Neko Mimi than Furry. But there is a sliding scale, of course. Am I into horror games? Yes and no. I hate cabinet stealth or closet stealth. I don't like games where the core mechanism is there's a monster patrolling around, and if it's going to see you, you have to run and hide under a bed or something like that. That's boring. Yeah, Neko, there are some times where it's better to gloss over it. I do like it, though, sometimes where games have horrifying lore, where if you actually read it and lay out how that plays out, it's very disturbing. Beta fish? I don't have any beta fish. Do you mean you have 2 beta fish? Yeah, I prefer psychological horror games where there's a steady buildup of ambient creepiness. That kind of thing, Neko. That kind of thing. There are actually a lot of songs that have that where I can't remember what it is, but there's a song where the artist set out to prove the concept that as long as you make the song danceable, people will dance to it no matter what the content is about. Yeah. It's especially hilarious with Who Let the Dogs Out that it gets adopted by people that are the ones that the song is saying are not great people. What was another one? Some of them, it's just like it's presented as romantic and it's really not. I don't know if it was intentional to present that image, but the one that's like, every step you take, every move you make, I'll be watching you. It's like really creepy, and it feels like it's presented as romantic. Little Nightmares, I haven't tried it. I've seen some of it. That's actually the kind of thing that I'm talking about as far as the kind of horror that I like. It's really unsettling imagery. Now, it does have the trope of little child in terrifying world, but it's executed very well. Yeah, YouTube apps. The YouTube app on phone isn't. a lot of the page apps are kind of cumbersome. Let's see. Okay. So we have that. So what we need is verifying this. So go in, we create our movement, we set the target. Now, initially, target is empty. Yep. When YouTube made the app, well, they added the Shorts feature. They were very clearly mimicking the TikTok pattern, and that's to lock you in and keep you there. Like, they want you to just swipe, 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 swipe. There's a lot of commentary as far as content creation and the rise of short form content. That it is that sort of time sink. Sadly, a lot of the conversation has that kids these days in my day kind of vibe. Hey there, Wi-Fi. Thank you. I appreciate the compliment. But at the same time, there are valid criticisms, like the sort of the grip that it can have on your mind. Like it will absorb you, you know. In the content creation space, there was a period where people were really against it. You would have things like, I'm not going to put that on my main channel kind of stuff. But there's a lot of... YouTube has come out time and again to say, like, the algorithms don't work that way. Don't worry about it. But the mythology continues to spread. Now, on the plus side, if you think about that, though, that is potentially equivalent to having watched, like, 5 or 6 long-form videos, like tangible long-form videos. So if it were, like, a day off, then, hey, that's about normal. Hey there, Barbed Wire. Good to see you again. We are very slowly coding today. We instantiate it, we put it in the corresponding mob. Well, we set its mob pool type appropriately. Some long form videos can be good. I will sometimes use good ones as background when I am doing other things. Like, I'll listen to the audio while it's going, kind of stuff. I kind of view short form content a lot of times as nice potato chips, you know? I've tried podcasts, but I prefer like an audiobook. If we're going the podcast route. If we're going the audio of something that goes into a video is, in my experience, often more refined than what goes into a podcast. I don't like the with the podcasts sometimes feel improvisational, and I don't like that as background. Oh, wow. Is that Winnie or Wine? Either way, welcome. I'll take like TV series that I own, and I'll play those in the background. Ones that I've already watched enough that the dialogue and similar is familiar. It's not something that like takes my whole attention. Like I can't listen to an audiobook in the background, like a new one, because I will not be able to put enough mental focus on it and what I'm doing to keep up with what's going on in the audiobook, and that's not good. But I do like audiobooks. Yep, yep. And if you like, audiobooks are for something where you have a non-entertaining mental focus elsewhere. But if you have other like engrossing mental focus going on at the same time, audiobook is going to get disrupted. No, sky has never fallen from that. Really, none of them have fallen from that. It's a cat thing. Yeah. Like Tass said, things like Some More News, a YouTube channel that I like, it is a good thing for that, because if I miss a little, they're carrying the whole topic, so I have to miss a lot to really miss information. Type, create a movement. We set the target to whatever target we have, which is specified here in create mob bodies, because all of them should share the same target. Let's see. The last podcast that I tried to listen to in the past, some time ago, was a podcast called Pseudopod, which was a eldritch horror Lovecraft mythos inspired storytelling one. They would essentially draw from a community that submitted stories. It was okay. Yeah, it's discoverability can be a problem for that as well. But yeah, it's in the same vein that I like audiobooks. It's the advantage with some of those is that they would be short enough that if I missed something, I wouldn't feel as bad. Whereas with an audiobook, if I miss something, I feel like I have lost out on the media that I am consuming. Podcast doesn't feel like as much of an investment. Now, if it were a long-form podcast, like a narrative spanning multiple episodes, then I would feel bad. Okay, we set the mob body. Which is the mob body from the template. We attach the collision event. Now, I've never done that. That would probably throw me way off. Now, if you mean it in the concept of like Amazon's Whisper Sync, then I could see that. Like where you can do one in the other back and forth kind of thing. I always forget to like pick them up in the right order for Whisper Sync to work. I always like it when there's a good narrator in an audiobook. It really carries it. Oh, I can't do that at all, Neko. Still sore. I think it's a seasonal thing. Cats. What's one that I really enjoyed? One of the first, if not the first, anime series that I got into was one called The Slayers. It is a comedic high fantasy kind of thing. You know, swords and sorcery. There's a particular voice actress for the English dub. I don't know if she's the same one for the original Japanese, but there's a voice actress for English that has been brought in as the narrator for the light novel of the series. And I discovered in reading the series and listening to the audiobook that the light novel version of that series, the series that the series is derived from, is way darker. Yep. Really, the narrator can make or break an audiobook. Sometimes cats. I mean, Illumination, Disney, Pixar, they can make good stuff. I don't know. I'm very interested in the next, is it Inside Out or something like that? The one where you have personified emotions and thought patterns. That can be rare, Neko, but I mentioned it. I had started to mention it a little bit earlier. Overlord. They made so much worse than the source material. It's terrible. Now, the light novel I love, but the anime, it's if you have read the light novel, the anime is not a good adaptation. The one I point to is there is a chapter that is condensed into like a couple minute action scene, like tops, like a fraction of an action, like a huge action moment is condensed into like a minute or something like that by chopping out so much of the detail. If I recall, Gate is good. The anime was good. I have encountered manga is worse than anime. Soul Eater. I love the anime for Soul Eater. I love the music in Soul Eater. The manga, I don't like the artist style and the artist's apparent how the artist presents some of the characters. Oh yeah, Neko. The scene that I'm talking about is like an incredible detail of the way the characters are thinking, their dialogue, you know, how the battle plays out, and they just chop it down to like one, you know, too fast for the eyes to see kind of action blurb. Bad. Yeah, I think Gate is one of those ones where like a door to another world opens up and there's sort of like contact. I thought Gate was the one where there was a lot of military contact. Pull tabs. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying the stream gaming, dude. Do you mean like, is pull tabs a term for like gotcha pulls, or is it something else like Do you mean like collecting pull tabs from beverages for some sort of contest? That used to be a thing. Barbed wire at the moment is when the butler fights the kind of underworld bosses of the mercenary group. If I am not streaming, I will be present on my computer, likely on Discord most of the time. As far as like, I don't go into voice channels on my server. It is pretty much text only. Hey there, maybe. Good to see you again. Like the collision event. We set up movement templates. We iterate over the mob spawn template and get each movement template. We instantiate it. We add it to the movement template collection, as well as its speed. For the most part, if you chat in the server, somebody will probably notice. As was listed in the chat channel, when people are talking, people will talk to them. If nobody talks, it's not until there's like somebody pops in and gives a prompt, you know? I haven't got the schedule set up for this week. Not committing to it, but I think the new Chilla's art game and Ace Attorney are going to be the games for this week. I mean more in terms of the Discord chat, Neko. This chat tends to be kind of randomly active. We do actually have non-trivial conversation happening across all of them, like in aggregate. How much do I play co-op games? Pretty regularly. It's tricky to find actual co-op games. Helldivers 2 has been the co-op game of choice lately. Yeah, I'd agree with that, Neko. Break room is the chat area on the Discord server, Cats. There can be chat in all of them, but the dedicated chat room is break room. Okay, we create all the movement templates in the movement object. We attach the movement object to the mob. Okay, because movement is an object. We attach it and we set its movement variable. Yep. Then we tell it to move a teeny tiny amount. 1/10,000th of a second. So there's one I'm looking for. That cat is Sky, Philip. It can be a little hard to see him, but he's sort of curled around with his back to the camera. We're using Delta time, Neko. Most of the processing is happening in the physics side, but yeah, Delta time. I can't remember what it's called. It's not demonologist, but I thought it had a demon name. That was one of the ones that we played it, and it was a find the difference game initially. It was the one where you had to look at the cameras and in the room, and the find the difference aspect was to get codes to banish the monster. They're making a sequel that is it Para Eyes? Whichever. They're making a sequel to that one. All right, Philip. We will probably be live tomorrow, barring disaster. Yeah, I did test. There were a bunch. I like that genre. But that group is making a sequel to that game that is a 4-person one that takes the same general mechanic, but makes it so you actually have to go out into the environment to find the differences with up to 4 people. Right, it was one of the observation duty style ones. So instead of having like fixed cameras around the environment, you go out there and you set up like heat sensors, spotlights, cameras, that kind of thing. I don't know. I have Exit 8. I wanted to play it. I haven't gotten around to it. It's something that I want to stream. Maybe we'll do a little bit of gaming variety in the next couple weeks. Get a couple of the things that I want to get to. There's one that's kind of like a... how do I explain it? There's one where you help solve mysteries as an autopsy technician, as a coroner who is a frog. It's like an anthropomorphic animal world, like your Sleepy Hollow kind of world. But you're examining corpses. Hey there, Don. Welcome. If I recall, Exit 8 is supposed to be one of those surreal games. Move it. We get the target of that movement. And then we add mob bodies. Add 2 mob bodies. How am I liking Godot? As an engine for editing a game, I'm liking it. It doesn't have the feel that I ran into with Unity, where I felt as much like I was battling the engine as I was getting stuff done. In the case of Godot, it feels like I'm battling my inability to plan to plan the structure right. Yeah, that's the hope, James. That's the hope, is that it becomes a process. It becomes something that we can look back on, should we want to. It's a collective experience. Hey there, Fraggy. Didn't really celebrate much for Easter, but I know some folks that had a good celebration. Does my game have ducks? Not at this time. At the moment, we only have a catbot, blobs, in a purple bubble. Okay, so where this breaking? Should be breaking here. Well, it's not supposed to be breaking here. My normal streaming times, my normal schedule, which is normal in the sense that it's what I try to schedule and then fail to, is Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at 4 p.m. U.S. Central. There's some variability, like today is not a normal stream. It was supposed to be yesterday, but I moved to slide it. But that's the normal time, and we usually stream until 7, so a 3-hour stream. We might do longer streams than now and again. Like maybe it'll run long. Maybe it will start earlier. I did a longer one on Saturday, and if I had to guess, that might have contributed to the back issues because it was 6.5 hours of mostly sitting. Which isn't great for my little robot spine. There are several folks that swing through the streams, Neko, that have the same issue. If you can't make some of them, that's okay. I appreciate it when you can. I have a decent chair. Some of it's a proper posture thing. I've tried some better lumbar support kind of things. Those generally don't work. So we adjust it. Okay, no, this is for monsters, so we're not doing that. So we put them in position. One of these days, I'll figure out something I can do with my chair that will help with the, to reduce the back strain. Some of it is just making sure that I brake properly now and again. But it's so easy to get focused. I should be trying that. Like, I have a different chair that I should be using more often. I can't use it continually because it is exercise in and of itself. But I need to use that. I need to do that. Yeah. Posture adjustments needs to be done. If that would work for this. Might. Yeah, that's an idea. That's an idea. Okay, so we go through and we modify position. This is potentially not working. So we're going to go into our spread function. And we're going to hop in here. It's definitely early in the process for that, maybe. Short term, probably not. It will be, if I decided to add it later, it would be painful, as is tradition with that kind of thing. Because it's an entirely different concept when you have to divorce the player entity from being the central thing in the world. And adjust things to be essentially host or server oriented. But we're going to focus initially on getting a single player experience together and then decide from there. Hey, if this one works out and we actually finish it and it's, good, then maybe that'll be our next project. No worries. Okay, let's get in there and see what happens. Okay, so we come into our spread function. We're going to do this 3 times in a row. So we're going to get the first mob body of 3. Well, we're going to do this. We're going to iterate 3 times within this. Structuring it so that it was multiplayer capable from the start would be better. There are aspects to that, though, that we would need to look into right away. Now, I have not updated the player object since early on. So when we circle back to that, that might be an opportunity to revisit the idea. Is changing it so that the player is something that is an entity in the world and that it determines which player object should have your camera attached to it. Said the player is from before our latest iterations. I don't know. It's the latest one, Cats. It's the one on a train. Okay. We have our movement template to apply. Now we're going to adjust that. Okay, we're going to get new direction, which is the rotated one. We look at effectively, it's still going to be a special thing, and that the player is. We're not going to be able to take the player and say this is a mobile object. Actually, we could. Okay, so the player would essentially be a non-special entity, and its movement template could just be obey input, and that obey input could be tethered to like a particular player or something like that. Its creation, the creation of a player entity, would be handled differently than other objects. Like that type would need to have extra handling. But past that, the difference would be this is special and we do extra stuff to it. Then the host or the server is the one that is going to coordinate telling a given client, this is your player. So it knows which ones to attach the camera to. And it knows which ones to route input to. At the moment, yes. But also not really. If we look, stop that for a moment. Thinky. Okay. So if you look here, our player object is a special thing. And it has a camera 2D attached to it. The fact that this camera is attached to it means the point of view of the screen follows it. So the player actually is moving in the world. But because the camera is stuck right to the player, it doesn't look like the player is actually moving. It just looks like the world moves around the player. Okay, let's... Go. Welcome back, Megan. If I were to add another player right now, I don't know how it would properly react because now there's 2 points of view. I haven't tested that. In order to deal with new players, like I said, as far as a given client is concerned, a player is just a thing. It's collision handling, that kind of stuff that matters. Like that's what's going to differentiate things. So like a player's bullets would not hit another player because player bullets can't collide with a player. But it's the camera and where the input goes that determines which player you are. Let's see. Direction. So I could... Oh, we won't be able to see it because the whole game logic doesn't have it wired up properly. Again, the player is a unique thing right now. Like, was it a live capacitor, Neko? Or did it become live later? Because I expect that was a thing that happened. Okay, returns vector 2. I can. Like, I can copy this entity. But the way the game is set up, I would have to add code to put them in different spots and to handle the way that the input works. So the oddity that we'd be looking at is what happens if there's 2 cameras. So I could accomplish the same thing in that regard by putting camera 2D 2 here. So right now, camera 2D2 is doing nothing. It would be possible if I code it. Again, the disparity here is that the thing that we're looking at that doesn't make it viable at the moment is that player is a special thing. Like, the whole code set right now treats player as a separate thing. Gemma, we're from the US. So if we go in and we make it so that player is not a unique thing, like that in the code there is the idea of multiple players are created, then we could set up code to say switch point of view to that one. I am talking to somebody else, Neko. Maybe is over in the widescreen stream on YouTube. It is confusing. Like I said, since I don't have a omnipresent group of mods that can go through and filter chat before it appears, I can't risk having text chat on screen. Because people can't be trusted. Now, the YouTube pre-filtering can only do so much. I've had at least one hate raid on my streams and in YouTube. I think, and we've had somebody come in that needs to be banned or muted. Yeah, that's right, Neko. You can never trust the user. As far as like multiplayer code is concerned, the server rules. No matter what input is coming in, the server should always sanitize it. I think more accurately maybe would be never trust a programmer that says a fix is quick and easy, don't worry about it. You know, like if a code commit says small change, that's a lie. I just changed one line. We don't need to PQA that. We can just skip the testing process. I have seen one line changes hard crash an entire executable when it was a comment. We can acquire more mods. It comes down to, is a person willing to be on as many streams as possible and dedicate most of the viewing time to policing chat? Yep. You can actually have a small safe change, but you should always double check. And sometime, once I'm more comfortable in this platform, I want to look into ways to do unit testing. Even if it just means having a switch that I flip when the program starts to activate the testing entities. I would love to have unit testing in a game. I feel like that's something that generally doesn't happen. Someday, maybe. Someday, if I get to a point where I have the bandwidth to safely do... either I have the bandwidth or I decide that I'm only going to do one of my stream formats, then I would be able to stream earlier. At the moment, I don't have the available bandwidth to stream earlier, and I think for mental well-being, I shouldn't stream too much later. Yeah, stuff like I'd like to be able to swap, say, like player input and do it to be this goes through a battery of player behaviors. That kind of stuff. Pretty much. It's interesting that I get a lot of European viewers. I don't know if that's a popularity thing. Is it a coincidence? I mean, like, streaming content is easy. Making a stream content is harder. No worries, cats. Okay. We get our mob, we get our movement template, we get the old direction. The old direction is mostly up. Interesting. Ah, it is random. New direction and angles to use is -45, 0, and whatnot. Yeah. In my time doing this, I have discovered that past, say, like 3 hours is where it will start to strain my voice. Not in a, like, I will have, speaking problems later, but it will start to become tangible. And if at one time, I tried to do voices for the Phoenix Wright streams, and that was an accelerator on the whole hurts my voice thing. Okay, new direction. What is new direction? Okay, it did rotate it. It rotated it. And it is still a non-zero vector. So now we do it again. Old direction should be the same thing that it originally was. Yup. And it is now the same number. Okay, this is the middle one. And then further rotated. Okay. Neat. We remove that breakpoint. We depause it. We stop the movement. And it's not working. Okay, so it should be working, but it's not. Oh, we haven't had any, like, repeat reports of issues, maybe. Anytime somebody reports an issue with the product, we solve it. Permanently. Okay. Definitely the issue, barbed wire. There are no longer issues. if you think your nanotype or catbot or new model catbot Nyanite is having problems, then you can just tell it to the nanotype or Nyanite itself, and it will run a diagnostic on you and fix the problem. Okay, so we have adjusted it, and the angle should be correct. On the problem, maybe. It'll fix the problem. Okay. So now we're going to go into movement template. Okay, that is kind of rotated. Okay, that is rotated. Same direction, that is the middle one. And that is rotated again. Yep. Yeah, Neko, that is, like, even though I've been trying to do that, I'm Nanites maybe are refurbished catbots. Existing catbot models prior to the update to the factory for the nanotypes are being offered free updates. All you have to do is bring them into the factory or tell them to come back to the factory, and then they'll return with upgrades. Amazing upgrades. I wouldn't worry about that, maybe. There are some hardware changes that need to be made, Neko. Okay, so it is changing direction. Let me go into spread. No, not into spread, to random mob. Look at move. Definitely one of them. Nine. Okay, so by the time it gets into move, not working. Microphone means not working. Obey me button. Well, that's not good. Okay. Okay. So okay. I need my microphone button to work so I don't gag and choke into your ears. Okay, so by the time it gets to movement, the direction to move has been reverted. That doesn't seem right. I don't have the right microphone for that. Loud cough, loud coughing and throat clearing ASMR. Okay. Okay. So if we go into movement, following movement template move each time. Go into here. Go into movement template. Saying 4986. Okay, in the movement template, it's not moving where it should. I'm trying to find out where the movement direction is being unset. You can find the other YouTube stream on my YouTube channel. There should be streams in progress. The thumbnail will look different. On Twitch, it's newtmechanist on Twitch. It's the same as the widescreen YouTube stream. ASMR it's another one of those things that's an ascendant media type, like a new media type that is, like, as far as public eye, it's a new media type that I think people look at and say, well, that's not a thing. And it's totally a thing. Hey there, Levi. Welcome. Haven't seen you in a bit. Okay. Where? Okay. So it's not doing this again. This is potentially the problem. It should only do this twice. One, two. This is not supposed to happen. Why you do this? Hey there, Tatum. Welcome back. Yeah, the short form one gets recommended because it gets a lot of traffic. Comparatively. That and YouTube is really pushing the short form stuff. But, watch whatever is better for you because, the code is there nominally on the short form. It's technically there. Switching to camera 1, which will take a moment because camera 1 is flaky. But there is Sky closer up. He is gray and white and in much more long hair than the others are. He has a big kind of like white ruff around his neck, and he has that white stripe. He is my mischief cat and my diplomat. He's really friendly to anybody. He doesn't care if it's new people in the room, new cats in the room. He'll go out and say hi. If he wants attention or food and he doesn't get it, he will make that frustration known destructively. I am tilted like this because I have a cat on my neck. Sherbet has crawled up on the cat rest and flopped over on my shoulder and neck. And it's more so now. But he gets back scratches because he's a sweetie. Oh. Thank you, Neko. I appreciate it. Thank you again. Sherbet and Sammy are my two cats that if you pet them a lot, like really scratch their back and whatnot, they can get close to losing balance. Sammy will go up on her tippy toes and get close to tipping forward. Sherbet has practically flopped off of like the cat tree platforms before doing that. Okay. So somewhere this is being triggered again. We're doing here is we're kind of brute forcing this. We are adding a gate that will say only do this once. Make sure to do it, but only do it once. One of my prior cats, the orange cat that you can see in some of the prior streams, watch my prior streams, shameless plug, seamless plug, is Weasley. And he was like that. He would almost tip over to the side if you scratched his back right. If you scratched his ears, he would like start to tip forward right into your hand. Flop over sometimes. Still not working. One, 2, 3. Shouldn't happen again. 4. Why did it happen 4 times? 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. All right, Neko. This is actually a good spot for a break. Get up, move around, that kind of thing, you know. I will be right back, and we will continue. All right, back in, folks. Just a moment. And we're back. Okay. So this is getting called more than it should be. Therein lies our problem. Or I'm sorry, this is getting its direction changed when it shouldn't be. This is problem. This is problem. So one thing I could do is change movement direction to have getter setters that call this. Hey there, Drew. Cat cam is jammed. Yep, just had our break and I'm sure to top up the beverage. Bit of a high hydration need stream. All right, let's see. We could have getter setters that call get direction and change direction. It's vector 2. Direction. Oh, okay, we can't pass a value type into that. But since this is a vector 2, that should ensure it. Okay, so movement direction will have a fixed thing that if you try to get it, then it will still call get, and if you try to set it, it will still call change direction. That way, if we try to directly access this member, since you can't really set private members, to my knowledge, that cam is still jammed, so let's switch it. Might be camera 1 just flaking out, as it do. I like the way the beat on this, what these are handled, you know? It almost kind of infects the melody in a way. It's like almost the same thing. Which, I mean, I guess is true, but that's kind of like a universal beat going through it. It's kind of neat. Yeah. It's real easy. I mean, in general, it can be easy to forget to drink enough. And there's a lot of nasty side effects to that sort of creep up on you. For me, one of the first ones is a building headache. And if you're in that sort of focused mindset, it's easy to forget that, you know, eating and drinking is a thing. You know, you're reminded as soon as it comes up, but... Okay, no, this is causing a recursion. Because in doing this, it's calling the getter. Yeah. I don't know, maybe you two have encountered this. Is there a way to set a private variable so it's not accessible through the class? in GD script. At well, maybe look up that later, but Monday is D&D night. Usually. Recently. Oh, ponder. Because there's a moment where it's being reset to its default. In spread, it's being reset. I'm sorry, no, in to random mob. Effectively, this is happening. Do you mean like the first sprite that I'm using in the game, or do you mean like vision type image? General concept is just a Vampire Survivors clone. Very shortly after that, more of a bioprototype clone. Kind of a midway point between the two. Part of it as an homage to the first game that we really did on this stream, on this kind of channel. And pretty much the entirety of this is an homage to our original kind of stream gimmick. Hey there, Lulu. We are gonna have to translate all of that. I can see what I assume is hello. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Glad you enjoy the videos. I have been slow to update those. I'm trying to get back into that. But general schedule has been pretty disrupted lately. Okay. We have a sherbet sighting. This is what I meant when I said Sherbet had a more asymmetrical pattern. He has that white blotch on his back and across his neck. And he's a lot more like... the white creeps up his sides more than it does on Mason. He also has a very different fur texture. And I have never been able to trim his little murder mitts, so he's the most dangerous of them. Second is Sammy, but sometimes I can get a couple of claws trimmed before she's done. They're not like mean cats. It's just that, like, for example, if they need to go to the vet and I need them to be in a carrying case, there is a risk to life and limb that happens. The first time I tried to trim Sammy's claws before she was used to me enough, I was bandaged up to my elbows afterwards. Translating. Well, keep in mind, Lulu, this while this is a generally safe for work channel, say so as it were, I can't guarantee that everything that is on that on this channel will be that way. So be aware of that. If it becomes if you start to have issues, or we start to have issues with you along those lines, there might be we might have to take action accordingly. Just a heads up. I say that to anybody that declares their age and it is under 18. Hey there, Potato. Indeed, that one is Sherbet. He tends not to be on camera as much as the others, so I try to spot him when he's around. Why this happened? Let's check this again. So we should get 1, 2, 3. And then it happened again. So we are going to step through here. Oh. But we should have fixed that. Target is set. Oh, this is primal programmer going on here. Frank, that one is Sherbet. He is the third smallest. He is slightly bigger than Sammy. And he is, I would say he is the least social. Not as in he's not friendly, it's just that he is he seeks contact the least. Kind of on par with Sky, but he doesn't have a I shall now destroy your stuff phase. Hey there, Ethan. Oh, well, the translator won't do a thing for that. Be aware if I can only speak English, I can only read English. So if you are writing in another language, I can only read and respond to it as fast as I can identify that it happened, and I can enter it into Deep L so I can translate it. Now, someday I'm going to start using a language learning program, because I feel like that's something you should do, in general. And it's a good day, Ethan? Is it a particularly good day for you, or in general? So, the reason for the sigh was, if a target is not set, we go in and we set the target. Else, we say the target is set. That is not what's supposed to happen. Hey there, Bloody Fangs, Crafty. Having a pretty good day today. I think I found our problem with the targeting code. And I thought I had solved it, but I made a stupid mistake in solving it and did not solve it. So now we're going to solve it. Oh. Let's see. Oh. Huh. Well, I appreciate that, Crafty. I appreciate that. One of the things we do on this channel that we have started to do, and I'm enjoying, is we're working on a game development project. We're making a game derived from some of the history of this channel. And it's in the theme of vampire survivors. Should be fun. Let's see. And I think I mentioned this before, Drew, but one of the interesting things is hearing people mention your accent. And when it comes to a language that you speak. So I'm aware of various accents in the US speaking English. But it's so easy to get into the mindset that you are speaking English and other people speak English with an accent, you know? But it's, you speak with an accent as well. It's your accent is your local accent. Ah, okay, Lulu. Well, that's an interesting challenge. Good luck with that. We'll say that this one doesn't count because you're explaining it. All right, Crafty, great. Yep, Toko, Star, we got Kitty Cat. That one is Sherbet. Let's do the cat cam for folks that haven't seen it before. Well, let's do the camera array. Let's see. Sky is still in traditionally what is Ember's spot. That is the gray and a little white lump that is encompassing most of one of the cameras. Welcome back, Neko. Oh, pink. Sherbet is the tan and white one that is kind of irregular colored. Let's see. The tan and white one on the bed with the black and white one is Mason, and the black and white one is Sammy. And the gray orange with white socks is Ember. She is apparently a coloration that's called diluted. So we can actually see all 5 of them. This is rare. This is rare. Normally, one of the normal spots is Ember is where Sky is. Sky is up in the cat tree. Sherbet is where Mason is, or not visible. And Sammy is where she is. And if Mason isn't where he is currently, he is up and right from where he is. Yep. Sammy was, Ember was itty bitty. And she still is. She is itty bitty. have been told, Crafty, I have been told that some folks like just listening to my channel. Like, it will be in the background. And that's okay. If you just want to lurk and listen or lurk and watch or whatever, that's fine too. Don't feel compelled to join in on the chat if you don't want to. And Star, I'm not a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's, but I like the games like I'm on Observation Duty that use camera arrays. Feel free, Drew. Feel free. I only have a bad high school class level of German understanding, so. Let's see. The kitties are generally napping. If you're wondering, you will see them like, sometimes you'll spot them moving out of camera or moving onto camera. But if you see them on camera, they're probably sleeping or like giving themselves a quick bath. What type of... I don't know if you mean that in a different context than the sort of tobacco tube that term might mean. But it is not a kind of thus. Along those lines, Frank, I think my limit was along the lines of, I am a tourist, where is the tower? And then the response being, there is the tower. Learned from a high school teacher that was convinced that she was teaching kindergarten. How many crows is too many? I think for the purposes of conversation, once you can really like confidently call it a murder of crows, it's either too many or just enough. Like that point where you pass like it's several crows, it's a couple of crows, and you have to call it by its collective noun. Oh, good to hear, Crafty. Good to hear. I'm glad you enjoy the channel. I mean, generally not. It's not a product that Catbot Corporation distributes, and I expect that the shipping would be a problem. I can't remember. Is it crows or ravens that are the ones that are considered really smart? Like, really prone to tool use? Or is that both of them? I know some folks that are a fan of that fiction. Interesting, interesting. It's always fun when you get to learn about or see animals that break some of those intellect stereotypes that are out there. Like, there are a lot of people that when they're saying like animals aren't intelligent like humans are, tool use is one of the things that will get called out, and then you get to then you learn about or see examples of animals not only using simple tools like a stick, but also doing things like shaping it for a purpose. Like watching a crow go in and grab a stick, shape it, and use that to fish a grub out of a hole in a tree, kind of stuff. I don't know why a group of crows is called a murder. I think it might be and I'm trying to catch up with some of this. Chat is flowing pretty nicely. Having fun, folks. It's twofold. Is I expected stereotypes about the birds, the kind of like black cats getting negative press. Crows and ravens get negative press. But additionally, the idea of collective nouns for animals is apparently rooted in European nobility elitism. So amongst the hunter culture of European nobility, what happened is that they started to coin terms for a group of animals because that became kind of like the inside baseball kind of commentary, that if you used, well, it was a group of foxes, they knew that you weren't a real hunter. I think it's a skulk of foxes. I've heard of that happening, Shin, that crows will not only leave gifts, but they'll also leave things in exchange for things. Like, if you leave out food for them, they'll start leaving stuff out for you. Yeah, it's I can see a dog being that clever there, Star, is knowing where to intercept you to get attention. I tell this story periodically, as far as Sky being my mischief maker cat. Is he will, if he wants attention, one of the things he'll do is he'll go find a shelf with something loose on it. Or say like an exposed piece of cabling for like USB or something. And he will look at me, he'll get those big round eyes, and he will chirp to try to get my attention. And if I look at him and make the mistake of making eye contact with him, he will then bite the cable or throw whatever he's got off the shelf, and then he will chirp again. As if to say, hey, look. And if I look, he'll do something and say, see what I did? Pay attention to me. Ha ha ha! We fixed it. So the problem was that the movement logic for the spread shots was firing too slow. Well, I'm sorry, it was firing multiple times, which reset the targeting. Yep. So let's go in and let's reset some of our stuff to how it's supposed to be. It was about 2 seconds. It doesn't really need to be 2 seconds, but yeah, no. Well, I'm trying to be crafty. I'm trying to be. So what this is doing currently is that each one of these is selecting, like, the center one effectively is selecting a random creature that exists in the world, or a random direction if there are none, and fires at it. There is the spread logic that's added that says take all of the projectiles that are being fired at once, these 3, and spread them across evenly at 180 degrees, with it divided by the number of projectiles plus 1. So we get 4 slices around them. So I can go in and I can go into the purple bullet, and I can increase the number of projectiles to 5. Digital catnip. I mean, I think there are a lot of things that could cover that. None of my cats have done the sit on my neck. Bob and Tom, my 2 Maine Coons. Bob, the one that you folks have never seen. Even the long-term folks, was bigger than his brother, so his paws were easily like 2 inches across. We're going to change that. The purple circle is a placeholder. The blobs are not a default enemy. There's going to be some more. I think in the near future we are going to have some sprite art on the stream. Right, Frank. If there's an even number, there won't be one directly at the target. This is the spread shot problem. There we go. But purple circle was very easy to just slap together real quick as a, hey, look, this is very visible. So we can extend this as far as we want. Technically within reason. There's eventually going to be some division problems. Let's add 19 projectiles. Stress test. Okay, that was unexpected. Huh. Okay, so this is neat and all, but it's not supposed to do this. Okay, let's look at our spread logic here a moment. Body count is an int. Angle slice. Okay, we're gonna force this to be a float. We're gonna try this again. Cats has mentioned that, Pink. It's so one thing I'll mention, and I never mean this to deny a compliment that somebody has given me, but I will say, you know, thank you, but and imposter syndrome requires me to deny this in my head. Relatively common thing in programming in some other spaces, but the idea of doubting that you're as capable as you might be, effectively thinking you're an imposter or that somebody is going to find out that you're a fraud. Besides being a game developer, I used to create vtuber. Oh, neat. Did you do like live 2D? Live 2D artists really impress me. There's both the creation of the base art, then the creation of the slices for that art, the different pieces that move around. And then the rigging of the model, which is like its own special form of 3D rendering. It's an interesting skill set. And on top of that, most of the documentation is in sort of translated Japanese. Okay, no, still not working. It's going full 360. Because you can see layers of multiple projectiles there. So we're getting multiple iterations around the circle. That shouldn't be happening. It should be, at most, 180 degrees. I mean, that's an accomplishment, Drew. Favorite anime? There are a couple that fall into that category. We're going to set aside like manga and light novels, even if they have anime adaptations, because some of those can be really different. Oldest favorite anime is The Slayers. It was the first anime that I really got into. I feel that the first couple seasons still hold up pretty well. The later ones even would have been kind of tired in their time. I kind of preferred the dub, sacrilegious as that is to some folks. The voice actor, or at least the voice work in the Japanese version, made the main character kind of shrieky, and that was a problem in a lot of early anime, is the really high-pitched voices for some of the female leads. Just kind of orally grating. Let's see. Later on, one of my favorites is still Soul Eater. The music and art in that is excellent. A recent one that I think was really good, but I don't feel like the second season is really... The second season hasn't grabbed me coming off of the first season, is Ranking of Kings. So what the bullet spread will do is it takes the whole group of projectiles and handles them all together. It comes up with the group of angles to use. And then applies those in sequence to each one of the projectiles. So it should handle that. But there may be a flaw here. So let's look at this guy here. And let's see what angles it generates. Okay, so this fires once when the projectiles have fired. When all of them have been created, this is going to apply the spread to them. This happens only when they're created. So we're going to look at angles to use. Okay. It shouldn't be rotating all that much. Is this not working how I think it's working? Because we're starting with that direction. So we're starting in whatever direction. It's definitely possible, Drew. So based on this array, we shouldn't be getting that because we're only getting close to 90 degrees in each direction. So for each body, we iterate over it. For each body, we get all of its movement templates, and we adjust those so that their direction is initially slightly different. This will have the most impact on things that go in a straight line or move very, very fast in the direction that they're programmed. Like if it's a fast pivoting homing shot, like a slow moving homing shot, this will have no impact on it because it'll keep changing direction. This only applies once. Okay. So we have... Well, we shouldn't need to change that. So our angles to use seems correct. Seems correct. So this might be part of our problem here. Let's... Oh. It's body count. Yeah, okay. Okay, this is not quite right. There is an adjustment that we need to make to that. So, for eye and body count for each body, we're then using eye to get the mob body, but I'm taking that eye and also using angles to use with eye, and that's not right. Angles to use, the first and last one are not the ones that we want to use. So we need to at least do eye plus 1. So that's a start, but that shouldn't be all of it. We're using Godot, but the basic math we're doing shouldn't be a big leap. But that's okay. That's okay. You know, don't worry about it. Okay. Weird. All right, let's go here. We look. No, we still want to use that number, but why are we generating 22 angles to use? That feels like it's not right. Something's not right. Good call. Good call, Drew. What we'll do is we'll reduce this down. Let's start with 10. Kind of binary search this. 10 will do it. About 5. Interesting. Five is doing it. How odd. About 3. 3 was working. Okay, 3 works. How about 4? Past 3. Past 3. Okay. Okay. So we look at angles to use. It'll be easier to look at angles to use in an event. I wonder if rotate is not doing what I want it to. In radians. There's our bug. There's our bug. I've been doing this wrong in general. I've been doing that wrong in general. Also fun. I don't know what a lot of this is. These are math terms I don't remember. Is a function called slurp. Returns the result of a spherical linear interpolation between this vector and 2 by amount weight. All right, Barbed Wire, thanks for joining us again. Glad you could swing by. This reminds me of there is a function that had an odd name as well. It was like lerp or something like that. So maybe this is a variation of it that Noida used. So this strikes me as there's a spatial math concept that I'm not familiar with. It is very much, Frank, a, yep, those are some words that you just used kind of vibe. There we go. The editor here sometimes tries to be helpful. Okay, so that's the first one, is we're going to fix that rotation. It was not behaving how we want it to. In fact, this will be a common thing that we have to deal with. Then we go here. I think effectively so, Drew. So the problem was that I was generating the right angles to use, but the function that I was passing it into did not interpret those as degrees. It interpreted them as radians, which is very different. There's our 4. And we're go back to our absurd test. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Kind of hypnotic, isn't it? That sort of card spread going on. I like that. See, it's helpful to have other eyes to just to poke that. Ultimately, it was looking this up and finding out that it's radians and not. There is another entity. Let me find it. Game. Border zone. Physics process. Yeah. So the progress ratio. At some point, I was interacting with something that actually used degrees. That's no longer the case. Oh, good times. Good times, though. So we fixed the targeting issue with Spreadshot. We have the basis for more stuff. Drew, each day, each time that I stream, there are 3 simultaneous streams. There are 2 on YouTube. There is a widescreen format and a tall screen format. So generally for, TV and computer screen and phone, respectively, on YouTube. And then on Twitch, the widescreen format is mirrored as well. Twitch is generally not terribly busy. Most of the chatter happens on the tall format one. It varies. It varies moment to moment. Oh, but we're going to wrap up there. We're going to wrap up there. We made progress. We secured a victory. And we shall take our victory and run. Good times, good times. You folks have a good time tonight? Well, hopefully so. All right, we are planning to stream tomorrow. I do intend to get the stream schedules posted tomorrow, ? Normally I would post them today, but I had an extra stream today. Maybe I will unhealthily stay up late getting them posted. So you will be able to see upcoming streams on YouTube. And go from there. Yeah, again, I hope everybody had a good night tonight. If you like what you saw and would like to see more, remember to like, subscribe, follow, whatever it is the buttons on your particular platform say, push them. They're mostly good. And the algorithms will try to serve you more things like this and hopefully more of my streams. All that said, have a good night, and I hope to see you next time.